Hello and welcome to Die Rollin. I'm the ever excitable Adam, and today I'll be playing V-Commandos by Tnt Noir. Now, V-Commandos is a game that I had my eye on for some time. It's a World War II stealth strategy game. It's fully cooperative. It's basically you as some allied commandos going in behind enemy lines and trying to achieve some objectives. Now, I believe there's around 8 missions in this game. And what we're going to do is I'm going to try each of these missions, and I'm going to have 2 attempts to do these missions. If I don't do them on the second attempt, then I fail at missions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to see at the end of this how many of those missions I've managed to accomplish and how many missions I failed. And if I've done more successful missions than I have failed missions, then we can say Adam beat V-Commandos. If I have more failed missions, which is more likely, then the game will have beaten me. So we'll see what happens here. V-Commandos is a game that I have played about half of the operations in there, so I have a good idea of how the game is played. Hopefully, if you have seen some of my videos before, you will know that I do tend to get some of the rules wrong. I may have misinterpreted some of the rules or just totally glazed over when I was reading the rule book. But because I played like so many of these scenarios now, I'm fairly certain that I'm going to get most, if not all, of the rules correct here. So as always, if you see me making mistakes, please list it below so anyone else watching these videos can go, hey, that doesn't look quite right. Then scroll down to the comments and go, oh yeah, he didn't play that right. It's just me playing, so I will lose track of how many actions I've done for people, who's moved where. But hopefully that will be very few and far between those instances that does happen. What else to say? So I did think I would just start off straight off the bat with just jumping straight into an operation. But then I thought V-Commandos comes with some pretty good tutorial missions. So we're going to do those first. So it's 3 tutorial missions and then like an operation at the end of that to go, hey, this is all the things you learned. You've now got to apply it to this scenario. So depending how long this video takes me to do, we might just do the tutorial missions, or we might also do that Operation Green at the end of it. So without further ado, I'm going to get to the table and I'm going to try to beat V-Commandos. So I've set up training mission 1. Before I get into the ins and outs of this, I'm going to have to explain a few things about the board and what we're trying to do here. So we have our 3 commandos. We've got an American Sapper here. We have our Russian sniper over here and our French medic over here. These are all the allied commandos I have. And over here we have a German officer. Now, for this game, this particular training mode, we can't actually kill this guy. The only time we're going to be rolling dice is if we're doing stealth checks. The point of this game is trying to remain as stealthy as possible as you go through the levels. Because if you are made visible, which we can flip over our guys here, if you become visible, then the alarm is going to go off. And when the alarm goes off, you flip this over. If I can pick it up. And when the alarm is off, basically the enemy knows where you are and the reinforcements are going to be double. So every round normally in this game you have, for each kind of spawn point, you have 1 German unit come onto the board. But when the alarm's on, there's 2. It might not seem too much, but actually when you get into this, you can soon get overwhelmed by the German forces. So you really don't want an alarm to go off. So when you're moving around, it pays to move stealthily. Now, your commandos are basically stealthy from the offset. When they move into another tile with an enemy unit, they have to do a stealth check. And what you're doing with that, you're taking the dice and you don't want to get a 1 or a 2. So in this instance, I got a 5, so I remain stealthy, which is great. And if you move from a tile which has an enemy into a tile which doesn't have an enemy in, and it's a small tile, then you can go from being visible to stealthy again. So that's kind of how the stealth element works when you're moving to small tiles. These medium tiles here, this one and this one, if you move into here, then you will automatically become visible. Now, because it's a larger tile. Now, what you can do is you can spend 2 action points to move into one of these tiles instead of just the 1, and you will remain stealthy. The big tile, though, if you move in there, you become visible, because it's such a big open space. You're going to get spotted by, let's say, there's a German unit with some binoculars somewhere. But yeah, unless you are the scout, then if anyone coming in here is going to be detected. Later in the game, you do get some German officer disguises, which means you can basically disguise as an enemy unit to move on here and not cause an alarm to go off. But generally, anyone going into one of these large spaces is going to set the alarm off. So I mentioned action points. Every commando has 3 action points. And in this first level, we can only do a couple of things with those. So the first thing we do is, for 1 action point, you can move onto an adjacent tile through an open door. Luckily, all the doors on this level are open. The second thing is you can move stealthily onto an adjacent medium tile for 2 action points. So from here to there, 2 action points to move into there. And for 1 action point, you can switch off the alarm. So the alarm, once that's been activated, if someone spends 1 action point when they're in this room, they can turn it off. And that's it for this first training mission. So we can move stealthily onto a medium tile. We can move to an adjacent tile, and we can switch off the alarm. Now for this, the characters we're playing with don't really matter because none of their abilities will come into play for this, because we're literally just learning about how to move around the board. Now the purpose of this mission is to get to this area here with every commando we have and turn the alarm off. One other thing to note is, if we have a visible unit and we try to turn off the alarm, as long as you have a visible unit on the board, whenever you turn the alarm off, the alarm will go straight back on, because someone can still see this unit. So we do have to all make sure that we are stealthy before we turn this back on. The German unit in this level does not have any weapons. We don't have any weapons. So if he does see us, he's not really going to do much. Like I say, this is just teaching you how to move around the board. So let us begin. And we're going to start with our American Sapper. So he's going to move 1 into here for 1 action point. The alarm goes off straight away if someone spotted him. His second action, he's going to move into this zone here. Now moving into this zone means he will become stealthy again, because he's moving to a small tile. But because we have an enemy in here, we have to do a stealth check. So we're trying to get a 3, 4, 5 or a 6 on here. And we got a 2. This basically means that he becomes visible again. He's got 1 action point left, so we're going to move him into this tile here. And he becomes automatically stealthy, because there's no one else in this room. So next we're going to activate our Russian sniper. So we got a couple of options here. We could move it into this space and into that space for 2 actions, or we could spend 2 action points to move it into here and 1 action to move into there. The alarm's going off, so at this point it doesn't really matter. So we're going to just move her into this space for 1 action point. We're going to move her into this space for her second action point, and she becomes stealthy again there. And we're not going to do anything for a 3rd turn, because we don't want to turn this alarm off just yet, because our French guy hasn't got down here. And if he sets off the alarm along the way, then yeah, it might be game over. So we're going to try and move our French medic into this room here. We do a stealth check. We've got a 5, which means he remains stealthy. His second movement is to move into this area. So he's 1 action point left, and that is going to be to turn off the alarm. Okay, so on to training mission 2. This time around, we're going to be trying to place a TNT charge on the tile containing the objective. The objective is this triangle thing here. And at least one of the commandos must leave the level through an open trap door. So we're going to get into combat on this particular mission. And we're also going to be using the special abilities of our two-man group here. So let's talk about the different commandos first. So all of these cards have a tan side and a blue side, giving you different abilities depending on which side you go for. Now this tutorial mission already sets it to be the tan side for both these guys, so we've got them set to that side at the moment. We also have event cards in this as well, but I'll get to that in a second. So let's begin with our officer. So once per turn, for 0 action points, he can pick a +1 AP token and give it to a commando on his level or himself. You'll notice there are these 3 circles on the left-hand side of these kind of character sheets here. And that's to put wounds down, meaning they have one less action, or to put a +1 action thing on there, which means they can spend that at any point to get an additional action in another round. That comes in invaluable later on. So for 0 actions, he can give a +1 AP token to a commander on his level or himself. And by level, it means anyone who's on this particular terrain area. Once per turn for 0 action, he can give +1 die shooting bonus for 1 shot to a commando within shooting range or to himself. So he assists people with their shooting efforts. Next, we have the American Sapper. Now for 0 actions, he can place a Tnt Charge. Tnt Charge are these green things here. And when they're placed, you put them around to the red side. The icons on here mean that the top one means the alarm is going to go off once this is activated. And the explosion at the bottom means anything in this tile is destroyed, which is pretty handy. At the bottom, we have the weapons these guys are using. So the officer begins with an S&W victory. It's got one little pip there, which means you're rolling 1 dice when you're attacking with this. If you shoot when you're using this, you'll become visible because everyone will know where you are. And you'll also set off the alarm because, you know, you're shooting people. The Sapper has a bar light machine gun here. So he's got 3 dice to roll. And also he'll become visible and the alarm will go off if he uses it. So to actually use this Tnt Charge, it has to be down in this area here. And at any point for 0 action points, we can blow that up. So it would be possible just to keep one of my guys down here and have the other one go through the level, take all the damage, and then just blow up with my other guy in there. But we're going to try and get both the commandos out. Wish me luck here. We also have the events, which we get one of these every round, followed by our turn, follow the enemy turn. So we'll go through those when we get to them. You've not seen this as well. This is a spawn point. So when the enemies activate, we're going to be getting some more troops coming in this area here, which is not very good because that's where we want to go. When you kill people, they will drop equipment. But if you blow them up, there won't be any equipment for you to pick up. There's 2 types of equipment in this level. There's some extra TNT and some better like assault rifles. No, SMGs, I think they are, sorry. MP40s. Yeah, I think that's it from these guys. The objective for this one is we have to get our 2 guys to destroy this objective. So we're going to have to place a TNT in this area. And then we're going to have at least one guy get out the trapdoor. So let's just begin. So I've got 5 cards here. This is the event deck for this particular mission. Normally you have a very big deck of cards. But yeah, we're only playing with these 5 specific cards for this. So to begin with a round, you draw an event. And the first event we get is Bomber. So before enemy movement step, a bomb hits 1 indoor tile with a trapdoor. So this here is a trapdoor. This is the only thing on the level with a trapdoor. So a bomb is going to hit this tile here. We have to flip the targeted tile to its outdoor side and add open door tokens between all adjacent indoor tiles. So that basically means this is going to blow up and we'll be able to get in here, which really helps us because it means we're not going to have to go through there, which means we might be able to do this mission exceptionally stealthy. The north here means that, well, when enemies are moving, unless they can see somebody, they're going to be moving north. So our officer is going to begin. He's going to move in here for 1. He's going to move in here for a 2nd action. And then he's going to spend his 3rd action saving an action. So everyone has that ability. And the Sapper's going to do the same thing. We're now to the enemy reinforcement phase. So we draw a token from here. These are all double-sided, so whichever way they come out is the way you play them. So this is a single dice baddie there. And then if he could move north, he would, but he can't because there's nothing there. These guys, over the triangle tokens, they will not move. They are protecting the alarm and they're protecting the objective there. So at the moment, those guys are going to stay where they are. Now it's the end of the turn. So this explodes as a bomb hits. Amusingly, there's 2 graves there now. And we put door tokens down here. The trapdoor luckily remains, so we still have a way out the level. And now it's the 2nd round. So 6 cents, 1 commando gets a +1 AP token. Well, we already have +1, so we can't do any more, I'm afraid. and everyone's going to be moving north. So what does that tell us? That tells us that this area is going to have 3 enemies in it by the end of this phase, unless I can take them out. So we are going to move the, we're going to move the Sapper. So the Sapper's going to move in there for 1. He's going to move in here for 2. Now, I have an option here. So I could move into here and try to stealth myself in there. And I think I'm going to do that. We're going to take a risk. This is just a tutorial. It doesn't matter. So for his third action, he is going to move into this zone here. But he's going to use... No, Adam. If I moved into here, he would automatically be revealed because he's only using 1 action point. So there's no rush here. We're just going to move our guys into this area and just stay where we are. So it's the enemy reinforcement phase. I apologize if I'm a bit indecisive about this because there's a lot of strategic options to be thinking about when you're playing this game. And then everyone's going to move north if they can move north. Next, close combat. So during this turn, the first commando to eliminate an enemy unit in close combat gains a +1 AP token. We're not going to try to get that far into this. We're going to go in guns blazing and try to get the hell out of dodge before they even know what's happened. So with that in mind, the Sapper is going to begin his turn by shooting into this tile here. He has got 3 dice to roll. We need to get 3 or more to kill. So we got a 6, we got a 1, and we got a 6. Because I use this weapon, my Sapper becomes visible straight away. The alarm goes off straight away because they've just heard this light machine gun fire. I got 2 hits, so we eliminate 2 guys of our choice. So we're going to get rid of these 2. And they drop a TNT token and a TNT token. So that was the Sapper's first action. His second action, he is going to shoot again into there. He got a 6, a 5, and a 1. So he's got enough to kill this guy. He dropped an MP40. For his third action, he is going to spend 1 action to move into this space here. He can pick up everything in here for free. He can also, because of his ability, he can place this in there for free. Now, normally, that would be the end of his turn, but we've got a +1 there, so we're going to use that to move him back into this area here. So the next thing we do is we're going to move our valiant British officer 1 space into there, and then for his second action, he's going to move off the board entirely. But actually, before we do that, we're going to give a +1 action to our Sapper, just in case. So our officer has gone off the board. We can't do anything more with him, and that's the end of our go. Now, because the alarm's still blaring, we've got extra reinforcements coming in. So we have 2 guys coming in here. If you ever run out of enemies from the reserve to place, it's game over. So you do have to make sure you are taking these guys out. Now, if there's somebody visible, they'd move towards them, but there isn't, so they're just going to stay where they are. This guy comes in, and he's going to defend this objective. Next event, you lucky. During this turn, any die roll resulted in a 1 could be re-rolled once by the commandos. So, do you know what? Let's just take out some Germans whilst we're here. So, we're going to attack with our Sapper into this area here. 2 falls and a 6, it kills both of them. He becomes visible because he used that weapon. He kills those guys. We get 2 items dropped. And then for his second action, he moves there. His third action, he moves off the board. And that, my friends, is the end of Training Mission 2. Okay, so here we are for Training Mission, the third. This time we are trying to discreetly sabotage this objective here. We have to spend 1 action point on this area here to sabotage it, and then we have to get at least 1 of our 3 commandos off the level. So our commanders this time around, we have the officer. He's on his blue side this time, and for once per turn for 2 actions, he can command an assault, which basically means he can get everyone who's on the level to attack. So for 0 action points for them, basically. So it's a way to get everyone to attack out of turn sequence, which is pretty cool. Next, we have our Scout. The Scout is my favorite character in this game, And he also tends to be the guy who dies the most in my games because I put him into peril's way all the time. So the scout, he's got an ability to stealthily move to a medium tile for 1 action point. Everyone else, it costs them 2 action points to move one of these tiles without setting the alarm off. So this does slow down a lot of people, but not the scout. He can just move through here, no issue. Obviously not through there because there's a wall, but he can move into here for 1 action point. And he's the only person who can move into this large zone for 2 action points and still remain stealthy, which is really handy. Our sniper is next, and she's got a great ability where for 2 action points, she can shoot one of the reinforcement drivers. This time around, we got 3 reinforcement points, so there's going to be a ton of Germans coming onto the playing field, which doesn't bode well for our poor commandos here. But yes, she can basically, for 1 round, stop anyone from coming in. Now, her sniper rifle, she has its 1 dice roll, and it also sets the alarm off, but she doesn't become visible when she uses it. She's got a grenade where she can basically chuck this into an adjacent area. It will set the alarm off, but do 4 dice worth of damage. The scout has got a crowbar, which is the handiest piece of equipment in this game, in my honest opinion. You can open up these doors for 1 action point, which is great. So you can silently open that door, making that really easy to get in there. Or you can discard it on one of these spawn points, and you basically jam up the reinforcements. When you have 4 units behind here, they will basically break through the room and break through the door and stay in the room. But otherwise, you're going to have 4 people waiting outside. There is a special unit who has a hammer who can get through these quicker, but I'll get to those when they turn up. He's got a Thompson, which unfortunately reveals his location when he shoots it, but it's going to do 2 dice worth of damage. And finally, we have our officer has got the Sten. The Sten is a great weapon because it is silent, which means we can shoot the locks off here without creating an alarm, and we can also kill these guys without setting the alarm off as well. So we've got our event deck, a lot more cards this time around, and we're going to shuffle this and see what happens. So we've also got some special enemies in the reserve, which I'll get to when they come out. But without further ado, this is training mission 3. Let's see if our guys can make it through alive. If any of them take a single damage, they be dead. So we've got to be very, very careful with how we do this. So the first action is Felarm. Apologies for my terrible pronunciation of German. So if the alarm is triggered and all the commanders are stealthy, turn off the alarm as if a commander had turned it off. So it's basically a false alarm now, which is pretty handy. And this little red triangle thing down here means we're not quite sure where they're going to go. So before we move them this turn, we're going to have to draw another event card. And whatever's on the event card is what's going to be the direction they're going to move in, which is pretty good. It sucks for us because we won't know where they're going, but it makes this game a little more exciting. So to begin with, we're going to, it's now the player's turn. So the officer's going to spend 1 point to move into here. And the second point is going to be move into here. And we're going to shoot this guy and hopefully take him out. We're going to need 4 or more to kill him. Just 1 damage will kill him. So we've got 3 and a 2. So we unfortunately miss. We're now going to bring our other guys onto the field. So 1 action point to move here. 2nd action point to move into this area here. And we are going to just save an action point for a later date. Our sniper's going to move in here, and she's going to move into this area, and she is also going to save an action point for a later turn. Now, unfortunately, if we get anyone spawn here, which we will, if they move east, then we've got a high chance we're going to be spotted and shot at by whoever's in here, and also this person. And if there's anyone there, someone from there as well. So, let's see what happens. We do the reinforcement step next. So we are going to be bringing out this guy here. We have a guy at the top here. Out on the eastern side, we have this guy. So already the board is filling up a little bit. Once we run out of troops to come from this bag, then it's game over as well. We don't have to see where they're moving. We don't want it to be east or west. Well, actually, west is fine because this guy's not going to move, but we don't want it to be east. So let's see. It is north. So anyone who can move, moves north. Once again, to remind you, nobody on an objective moves, and if you're on a space where there is no north, you can't move off the board, so they're going to remain where they are. There's no one to shoot, so that's the end of the Germans' phase this time round. Manwenager. The enemy finds a dead body. Now they're on their guard. During this turn, close combat cannot be performed. And we know for a fact everyone's moving east, so this tile here is going to be exposed to the enemy. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to start off with our officer. He is going to shoot at this guy here. We need 4 or more to do it. And we got a 6 and a 2. So this guy is dead. Which means we've now liberated the alarm. So if the alarm goes off, we can turn it off. And we found another crowbar there. This is really handy. So if his first action was to do that, his second action is going to be to move into there. And his third action is going to be to save an action. Okay, so our scouts. Our scout next or our sniper next? Let's go with the sniper. So sniper is going to move into this area for 1. She's going to pick this up for 3. Her second action is going to be moving to this area here. And the third action is going to be to use this crowbar on this spawn point there. Which is great because it basically means we're going to block anyone coming out from there. The scout is going to move next. He's going to move 1 into here, 2 into there, and he's going to wait where he is. It's now the enemy reinforcement turn. They're still not aware of the enemy. So we have this guy down there, this guy up there, and behind door number east, we have this guy. Now, he's going to stay there until there's another three troops in there, or we have at least 1 hammer guy or 2 hammer guys, but I'll get to what they do. This here is a special thing. This basically means we're going to not spawn anyone in here this turn, but instead we're going to add one of these bad guys to the one of the elite kind of guys to the bag. So there's going to be tougher opponents here. So next event. Oh no, I didn't do the movement. So this guy moves here, and these two move into this zone here. It's a bit of a shame because that's where I was headed. No one shoots because no one's visible. Okay, so we've got company. So I have to permanently remove 3 regular enemy units picked up from the enemy reserve. Place them back in the game box. This sucks because it means we got 3 less enemies down the board and 3... there's more chance we'll get elite troops coming out. So I've got to remove 3 of these guys. Okay, cool. That's 3 removed. And everyone's moving south. So these 3 are going to move into here. This is going to have 2 people in as well. And he's going to move here to protect this trapdoor entrance. So, what to do? We're going to start with a sniper. So the sniper is going to chuck in this grenade into here. She's rolling 4 dice. She needs 4 more to kill these guys. So she got a 6, a 4, and a 4. So it kills all 3 of these people. So they go back to the reserve. The alarm is triggered. So all the spawn points are going to be spawning 2 people this round. She's not visible though because there wasn't a visibility token. So she just lobbed that grenade in. And we have 3 new items dropped in where they were. Oh, that is a +1 action token, so that shouldn't be in there. So instead we have, okay, so time to talk about spotted tokens. So these spotted tokens, they only come into effect if there was another enemy in this area. What that means is they spot the dead body and you would become visible. But we don't worry about those right now. But there is a crowbar left behind. So that was the sniper's first action. She's going to spend her second action. She's going to spend 2 action points to try to shoot the reinforcement driver for this area here. So she's rolling 1 dice and she needs to get 3 or more to do it. And we got a 2, so she misses. She's got 1 action point left, so we're going to move her into this area here using this saved action. And you know what? She may as well pick this up for free. Okay, so the alarm's blaring. We are going to next use the scout. So the scout is moving 1 action point to move into there. He is then going to use 2 action points to move into this zone here. Now, if we manage to do this, he will remain stealthy and we can potentially, sabotage this place with a 3rd action. But we have to remain stealthy. We got a 4, so we have remained stealthy, which is perfect. So, what to do? Do you know what we're going to do? We are going to, instead of killing this guy or doing this, we're going to block this reinforcement point up. So no one else is going to come into this zone this turn. So that has to be his extra action used. And that's the officer. So the officer is going to shoot at this guy here, hopefully killing him. And he needed a 4 or more. He got a 6 and a 3, so he kills this guy here. So this guy is dead. He did not see that coming. And he drops a spotted token, so that's no good to man nor beast. Sorry, this alarm should be blurring at the moment. So that's his first action. His second action is going to be to turn off the alarm. So all the German soldiers think there was a false alarm. So we'll only be getting 1 reinforcement each this round. His third action is going to be to move into this zone here. And his fourth action is going to be move into there, taking his +1 action there. Because he's fairly certain we're going to do this mission now. Right, the enemy reinforcement turn. So down south, we have this guy here. So he moves straight into the room. Up north, we have this guy here who just waits outside patiently. And then over here, we have an additional guy who is also waiting outside, but not as patiently. We now move. Anyone who can move south, but there's nowhere to move to. So we get a new event. Long way around, place back up to 4 enemy unit tokens currently on the table, blocked behind a barricaded enemy entrance or because the tile in contact with an enemy entrance is full in the reserve. What that basically means is these guys, they're going to go the long way around, which means they're not going to try to get through those doors. They're back in the bag, which means we've got even more time with these 2 areas here. Everyone's going to move north this round, so whoever comes into this zone is going to move into here, as is this guy. So we're going to have at least 3 people in here unless we can sort this out. But don't worry, guys. Our scout is well prepared for this. So the first thing the scout's going to do is for 1 action point, kill this guy in close combat. No rolls, nothing. He just sneakily goes up and just probably uses his bare hands to kill him. He's going to pick up the grenade for free. He's got 2 action points left. So, of course, we're going to sabotage this, which is our objective. And his third action is going to be move into this area here. Next, our sniper is going to open this for 1 action point. For his second action point, she's moving out. So she is off the board. We've completed this mission now because we've had at least 1 commando off the level. But I'm going to carry on until we've got everyone off because I think I can do this. So next, our British officer is going to move off the board as well, leaving just our scout behind. Enemy reinforcement phase. So we get this guy down here. We get this guy up here. And we get this guy up here. Everyone moves north. So these guys come here. He's guarding the objective. We get another event. Friendly fire. During this turn, each enemy shooting die rolling a 1 hits another regular enemy unit within firing range. And everyone moves north. But we don't care about that because our scout has just got off using 1 action point. And that, my friends, is all 3 training missions for V-Commandos. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I've been your host, the ever excitable Adam. And if you've liked this content, then please like and subscribe to our channel. We love talking to you guys as well. So leave some comments of some positive comments below, or some negative comments. It's fine. I'm always looking for constructive criticism. So that's great. If there's anything you did like about this video or didn't like about the video, like I say, leave it below. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. So make sure you check us out on those different platforms. And if there's anything you'd like to see us play solo, then yeah, let me know. Well, until next time, stay safe and keep rolling.